Yeah, you've guessed it, more changes. Alright, this is just an update from the last video I made for my AOS system. Now, I've gone just simply with the Radium AOS. Two things. One, I'm changing my hood for something else that doesn't require, or actually it won't fit whatever I had going on here, as well as just the operation, you know, the whole VTA and hybrid and all that stuff. First off, I'm getting a reverse vented hood that will have vents coming out of here as well as here and there. No longer will there be a scoop because there's no top mount intercooler in here, so why bother? And the reason why I'm changing it is if you have a hood scoop with no top mount, you're just allowing pressurized air to get in and circulate and cause your heat exchangers not to work properly. So without a proper pressure drop in the engine bay, there won't be any sort of efficiencies for the heat exchangers. So the first thing I've done before was, I'm not sure if you can see, you have to go down there, but there's vents on my under tray which help the front heat exchangers as well as extracting heat from the header for you guys who really need to correct people. But it does help. It does. I can feel the heat escaping from the bottom. Now, for the other reason, for the VTA, you don't want to do VTA on a car that's MAF tuned. Well, if you do run VTA, you have to tune for it. So I was tuned on a MAF setup, therefore I have to run on a MAF based tune and MAF based AOS. So nothing right now is open, as you can see. The routing is, let's start with the cylinder heads, left to right, going to the killer bay oil control valve, and it's going to the side chamber here. And there's literally no mesh in here. Not sure if you remember last time when we discussed the design of this AOS. It's supposed to be the outlet, but I made it an inlet. All right, and then you got your crankcase exit here, which doubles as a drain. It's going to go up and hit that angled baffle before going up towards the mesh. And there's a pressure drop, a slow pressure drop, so the oil won't follow the air like really quick. And then there's a 5/8 top hose here, reducing down to a 1/2 inch going into the turbo inlet. So I removed the PCV valve because I didn't want this to create a positive pull on the AOS returning any kind of oil to the system. The only thing that's returning air is this guy, or returning gases or contaminants, E85 contaminants that you want reburned is going to go here, and the rear turbo inlet port. And I've also recently pulled everything off. I had a boost leak at the number 4 runner. The gasket failed. I pulled everything out. I checked the turbo outlet, compressor inlet, all the charge piping, exits, inlets, entrances. You know, nothing had oil. Of course, I checked the AOS as well. I've also removed the drain a few times, and there's no milking. It's hot enough here as it is to not allow, to not use the radiator hoses for heating it up. It's been approximately 2,000 miles since I've got it to this final orientation, and I've done testing with how much oil goes through it and how much vacuum is pulled from here. And let me tell you, it does work really well. No oil is found here or here. You get condensation, but that's about it. No oil. So if you're running E85, this would be a good setup to run with the way I do it, putting the denser mesh in there, so there's no physical, evidence of oil going in. The amount of vacuum being pulled is roughly about -2, -3 inches of mercury, which equates to -1.5 psi. And this is what you want to do for a full recirculating system. Now, most people would sway you to get a IAG comp, which just dumps it out, but I kind of want the circulation because I want the positive pull to help my engine seal better. I mean, I get it. The AOS just dumps everything, keeps the intake clean. However, depending how much blow-by you have, it'll just spit it right out. It'll just spit it out into, under the car, or, you'll smell fumes. I don't like smelling those fumes. I had the breather tank in there, but when I had it there, Chris from Killer Bee was right that if I had a MAF-based tuned car, everything from the breathers would be unmetered air coming in. So when I checked the interior of that breather tank, there was literally nothing in there. It was dry. So that's one of the good things about talking to professionals. They know what they're doing. They're not just a regular person on the forums. They do their own research. They do their own testing. I do my own testing. Also do testing from with other people's cars and study other people's results. But it doesn't make me an engineer. All I am is just a mechanic. These videos aren't to bash anyone or any company in particular. I'm just a 23-year veteran for these cars. I've had these cars and worked on these cars for that long, since right after high school, all before the fanboyism, before the bug eye came to US shores. And whenever parts come out, I get excited about it. I want to read up on it and make sure it's working good, because there's a lot of things I've seen that people have done over the years, and I thought it was stupid. But right now is a good time to own an EJ. I've been telling people the technology has been way better, the research is better, the parts are better, even better than Japan. I mean, believe me, that's how it is right now. But the only thing that hasn't changed are the owners. So what's new now? You notice that is gone. I'm putting nothing there at the moment right now. I've got an idea, but I'm going to hold off until I do my research and measurements. So that will be a subject on its own. Lately I've installed the Illuminati coolant reservoir up here. It's very nice, really small, low profile, looks cleaner, frees up more space. And I made another Kydex air box. It's a hybrid aluminum in here just to keep this the structural rigidity of the thinner Kydex. So this is Kydex V. It's very thin. And then this is Kydex T, covered with DEI Florentino shield. You guys probably saw it on my Instagram. I had to figure something out with this area here and shielding the heat, because all the piping is here. There's no air box here that's available that you can use that will work in conjunction with the ETS front mount piping, as well as any other intake, maybe theirs, but they've got no specific shield. And another thing is I have my oil cooler down there, which, speaking about changes, I will be relocating to the other side. So that's going to be interesting. I've got parts for it. Also, I'm going to be replacing the filter that I'm using on the in my intake system. I've got the Cobb SF, which is the oily Canon type filter that follows your MAF sensor. I want something dry. I'm not going to use the AEM one that I used to have. I'm trying to use this Engine Dry Nano synthetic filter, but it's, believe it or not, an Amsoil filter renamed as Engine. It has a velocity stack on top, and if you combine it with Cobb's velocity stack on their MAF housing, it's going to be pretty efficient, as well as oil free, because like I said, I don't like oil based filters, K&N filters. I mean, Cobb, anything that uses oil, I hate it. So that's that for that side. Going back this way, so we have space down here for the oil cooler. Right now, the duct is just cooling my windshield washer reservoir motor. You can see the duct right there, 45-degree silicone. One thing I like about these bumpers, compared to the newer style, these have more functional ducts that you can fab up, because I punched out the turn signal here, remove the fog light because the fog lights are shitty. I don't give a shit about fog lights anyway. We don't have fogs here, and fog lights are weak here on this model. They're not as big as the old styles on the GCs, but anyway, I digress. If you look inside, it's pretty dark, but there's lots of real estate for a cooler. If you look at Lewis GWRX on his page, he kind of gave me a shout out on helping him out with the oil cooler. So we've talked about things and moving the oil cooler here, traded ideas. Fortunately for you guys, for FA guys, you guys have your oil cooler, your oil filter right here, which you can just put the cooler thermostat, run it down back and forth, kind of like the way I have it here, short, but I kind of want to separate the exchanger here. So some people have been telling me to go to CSF, where you have the combined oil cooler and radiator, right? I've been told that, you know, it's better, it's more efficient. I'd rather just have them remotely separated with their own thermostats and their own heat exchangers, and that's that. And the rest I can just deal with it myself. It doesn't matter how thick your shit is. It depends on how you use it, you know, letting the air flow through it. And that goes back to airflow going here, right? And some guys put the oil cooler up here, which is very terrible. I wouldn't suggest putting an oil cooler up here when you have a front mount, because I mean, heat rises. There's not enough space back here to pull anything as far as you know, getting a pressure differential. Yeah, it's a bad idea. But moving air through your engine bay or through the ducts and all that, that's what really matters for heat exchanging. I mean, if you look at all the supercars, hypercars, they've got very efficient ducting going through their heat exchangers, and that's what you want to simulate. So I think that about wraps it up with all the updates. If I missed anything, you guys can check out my Instagram at OCTurboJoe. And I've been kind of feeling about maybe just quitting YouTube, and then it's not just something to say just for attention. I really kind of feel like quitting YouTube because filming is very tiring. Not only that, it's just uploading it is very tiring. I just want to film and upload real quick on Instagram, on IGTV video. I don't know, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section. And I believe that's it. If you guys like what you see, like and subscribe. See you guys later.